Good day, I am here to explain how the theory of Sigmund Freud contributes to criminal behavior. So first, we must know who is Sigmund Freud. In order to understand his theory, Sigmund Freud is one of the most famous and controversial mind in the 21st century. His psychoanalytic perspective of personality offers a unique way of looking at the body and mind connection to personality. Now let's dive to Sigmund Freud theory. First is the three parts of personality, which is the id, ego, and superego. According to Sigmund Freud, these three personality is driven by unconscious energy. And the id is the bad boy of our subconscious mind. It seeks pleasure and avoid pain at all cost. The id wants instant gratification, while the superego consciously and unconsciously acts to follow the rules of the society and trying to keep the id from causing damage long term. So in short, superego is more on morality, and the ego lies between. And the third personality is the ego, which lies in between or in the middle of these two personality. The ego is in constant struggle to balance these two personality to make pleasurable decision without making too much damage. So how does Freud ideas influence reshape our personality? In this theory, as a child grows into an adult, they encounter the five psychosexual stages of development. During five stages, the id is focused. Now, the ego struggles to balance the pleasurable seeking id and the moral ego, superego. In these stages, internal conflicts will result to struggle. Now, Freud said that personality is formed by the process and the result of each stage. So, there are five basic stages. So the stage 1 oral, stage 2 anal, stage 3 phallic, stage 4 latency, stage 5 genital. So if a child struggles to balance these stages, it will result to what we call fixation. For example, in stage 1 oral fixation include smoking and problem with eating. Now if a child fails to master the balance of the stages, he or she will grow into an anal retentive person, which means an adult, a lousy and lazy adult. And if a person gone through these stages, 5 stages, and fail, he will grow with a complicated personality. So the question is, how is the idea of the theory influence and contribute to the criminal behavior? Well, according to Freud, Freud's structures of personality and criminality, the three personality which we discussed earlier, the id, superego, and the ego, the id or the pleasure principle is often paramount when discussing criminal behavior. For example, what we see in the news, an offender committed a crime without concern to anyone but for themselves. In such a way, they are selfish, committing a crime. It is possible that the offender is driven by the id or the instant gratification. However, a crime is committed, it is because an individual underdeveloped the superego personality. In some, psychodynamic theory suggests that criminal offenders are aggravated and frustrated because they are drawn to the past happenings in their life because of negligent, unhappy childhood, which is often characterized as a lack of love. Criminal offender has weak or absent ego. That's according to the psychodynamic theory. So the criminal behavior is connected to the three personality according to Sigmund Freud theory, which if a child fails to balance those psychosexual stages, he will have a complicated personality, which was defined that this complicated personality often leads to doing such criminal acts and criminal behavior.